Mr. Unwin, could you tell me how a type B differs from that of perhaps a type A?
Ah, yes. Well, as you know, A as numerical horde would perceive of this. Now, you have first of all a hybrid with 600 hold, which is the first input, and a matchy half for the secondary. So really, it preceded that and it's part exchanging most on account of the cost of production. So really, we've got to work down to a very low cost on that, and we'll have the B. Have you heard of the B index mine, which is follow through?
Oh, yes, of course.
Yes. Well, that's going to be a much cheaper job and really do a fine job, I assure you. Oh, yes.
Well, how you say it'll do a fine job, but the present Type B equipment, I mean, how would you say that? Is it a good piece of equipment, do you think?
Oh, it is excellent, but the thing is, through time, production of new raw materials, a lightweight emotion, a transformer thaw for the core weighty, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Also, a size emotion for a carry porter bold, so that you can have it, you can stuff it in a rack for the solid fixie of a static thing, or make it a part exchange emotion for walking out into the field to do a job like that. Yeah. So really, integration is coming to a very fine hoardie. That's the main thing. And of course, the government-wide Papers Economics Thrower Acts, which has suffered on account of television, so we've got to do that.
Of course. Yes. On the Type B now, I've heard of something called clean feed. Perhaps you could explain that.
Oh, yes. Well, of course, I had a lot of experience of this at 1854, which is the first chance before radio was invented, and since then on royal tours. And it was found that a clean feed is a backgrove oral further scale, as it were, to cover up anything was in actuality most and make it sound of the smooth continued. You see, and it's got to be done that way. And really, that's what a clean feed has got to be marked, too, so the note that you plug it in jacks the right hole.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Because on a Type B, you've got the same as a Type A. You have got echo, haven't you? You can.
Oh, yes. Oh, you can do that. Well, earlier on was Captain Eckersley, the source of patent through 5 on echoes. It did show that we prefer to get a natural throw. That is, if you've got a long tuned which is follow through on the other end, it can be done electrically. And that was thought to be cheaty, but now we find that the cheaty is so near to the realistic throw for it that we can do that and get away with it.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
What is the gain of the main amplifier?
Through T4, which is dB most in a type of valve with this mu that we have,
yes.
And it's been developed through. If the dB's gain, which is 20 log over through, as you know, is fine divided by, gives you that right answer, and you can choose a valve to suit that. You see, mind you've got to do a matchy most in it.
Yes.
Yes. May I ask you a quest hold?
Yes, of course.
Well, in the case of a cathode folly, which is a follower through forked on that for matching an impedance, yes. What do you feel yourself as having experimented 4D?
I would say that perhaps if you plug the clean feed to Uganda type administration, you might get this Afghanistan. Well, you know what I mean.
Very good, very good. Oh, yes. Yes, that's the sort of answer I would have expected, and I'd do a great congratulating most when you'd pass it number through if I was taking your examination of paper. Oh, yes, I would do that.
Oh, good. Thank you very much.
Well done.
Well, perhaps I can carry on now.
Yes, please,
ask
yes.
You the questions.
I'm sorry for shooting it in the bloom.
Oh,
but
of course, yes. Well, this, what was I about to say there? You've confused me with all these facts.
No.
The Type B, as opposed to the Type A and the Marconi, it was developed when?
Well, at the time the coheres first developed in Chelmsford and Rittle, you know, on that. But I think it was the early turn of the century was the first word came through and finished to a perfection in 1930.
Yes, and you've got a jack field on the Type B as well, haven't you?
Oh yes, rather.
You can cross plug.
Yes, you can do a cross plug in most. Got to watch the impedance or matchy again, but providing you don't have too many which are loaded enough, as you know, it's 20 log again. It'll go very heavy loady. Oh yes, so you mustn't do that. Oh no.
And is it high level mixing or?
No, well, it is high level mixing in the most on account of with low level it picks up the noise of the contact making, the changeover keel.
You mentioned the changeover keel. Could you sort of expand on that?
Well, look, if you have a Kellogg keel, which is after the two-pole change, and the contact resistance EPS, then X squared thrusts through for low impedance feed D. So you've got to shoot it and thaw for the high impedance feed if the contact resistance is low in relation to it, and so it won't make much interference.
I see. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Unwin.
Well, Code.